Hey everybody, this is Joe from HomeStudioCorner.com, and I am tired. It's been one of those weeks. I won't bore you with the details, but I'm just exhausted. So I'm sitting here on my couch in my studio, and before I completely go lazy for the night, I wanted to put this video up to pose a question to you. Tell me if this has ever happened to you. You've been working on a mix, or better yet, you're watching someone else work on a mix. Maybe it's a professional mix engineer, somebody online who's putting out mixing tutorial videos, or somebody just giving mix tips, whatever the case may be. And they're telling you different things that they do to get a particular sound on a particular mix. And you say to yourself, yeah, that's cool, but listen to how good the tracks sound before you start mixing. Your tips don't apply to me because my tracks don't sound that good. And so it's very easy at that point to just write off everything the person's saying because they're using tracks that sound really good. And so instead of thinking about that, we end up just moving on to the next person who has crappier sounding tracks, who can maybe teach us how to make our crappy sounding tracks sound really good. Now, raise my hand, I'm as guilty as the next guy of doing that. But let's think about that for a second. Yes, there is skill that goes into mixing. And yes, there's talent. And yes, you should absolutely continue to develop your own talents as a mix engineer. But don't fall into the trap of thinking that you can take less than great recordings and somehow make an amazing mix out of those. It just doesn't happen that way. Instead of focusing on finding the right tips that can make your tracks that don't sound that great sound better when you mix them, what would it look like if we focused on making our tracks, the bare, raw tracks, sound amazing before we ever mixed anything? What would that look like if we were to pull up the mix session and before we slap a single EQ or compressor on there, the tracks just sound incredible? Imagine how much better of a mix engineer you would be if the tracks that you recorded sounded that good before you even started mixing. And so that's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask you that today and just have you think about that. What would it take to get your tracks to sound that good? And a little hint for you, it's probably not something you need to buy. Chances are it's just a matter of focus and effort. I got an email the other day from one of my subscribers who says, he said he was recording I think it was just a simple piano vocal song for a client. And they set it up and they spent a couple hours trying out different mic placements on this piano to get the best sound. And he said he kept thinking while he was recording and setting things up, as much as he wanted to rush through and just record it and then go back and fix it in the mix, he kept thinking about the emails that I send out and the things that I talk about in these videos and my articles and things like that where I really push you guys to focus on the actual recording process and not to rush through that and to really get it right at the source. And he said after the fact, the next day he came back to mix the songs, and even though he had spent hours on it in the studio, that wasn't time wasted. And he went to mix it, and he said he added maybe a touch of EQ and a little reverb, and the piano sounded amazing. That's what I'm talking about. And that's the kind of thing you just won't get it until you try it. And I beg of you, give it a shot. You just might find out that it's awesome. Alright, hope this video helped. If you have a comment, if you agree with me, or if you disagree with me, that's fun too. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. See ya.